Okay, today we got another request, and today we are going to be giving Tien, Krillin, and Yamcha, the three prominent humans of the Z Fighters, access to the different techniques of Gojo from Jujutsu Kaisen. Now, for the first character I'm going to be talking about is my favorite of the human Z Fighters, Tien Shinhan. And I think, just thematically, on top of giving him Unlimited Void, I'm also going to give him the Six Eyes. Hell, he's already got 3 eyes. Might as well make them special by giving him the Six Eyes technique. With the Six Eyes, he would get perfect regulation of his energy. So much so that you can spam your most powerful techniques with little to no energy loss. Hell, this man's gonna have such good energy control, people would mistake him for having unlimited energy like the androids. Plus, the Six Eyes would also allow him to instantly analyze a person, be able to pretty much figure out whatever their technique happens to be. Which, since this is in Dragon Ball, instead of it understanding the curse technique, I think it would understand at least their primary key-based abilities, and maybe even telling him about what their signature moves might be. Plus, do I even have to talk about the ability of using Unlimited Void? Hell, this dude could be waving hand signs to use the different techniques of Gojo, since he could spawn 2 extra arms. He'd basically be Sukuna with how he could just spam techniques, since he'd have 4 arms to do the hand signs with. Next, with Krillin, giving him access to Gojo's Infinity is going to make it to where a lot of characters aren't going to be able to touch him, even if he can't stack up to them physically. Which, due to the fact that he has a technique that is offensively able to take on people way heavier hitting than him, it makes sense to give him a defensive capability to help him fight above his weight class as well. It's just pretty well rounded. An extra sharp blade in the sense of the Kienzan, or Destructive Disc, and the ultimate shield in the form of Infinity. Not to mention, these techniques that I'm mentioning are probably even going to be scaled up to the level of strength of the characters in question. Now sure, Infinity can't really increase its strength because it's already infinitely slowing things down as they try to approach. But he'd also, having Infinity, probably have access to the likes of the red and blue technique, which are literally the positive and negative applications of Infinity. So imagine the potency of red and blue, scale up to the level of any Dragon Ball character, let alone the strongest canonical human in Dragon Ball. Or imagine if he imbued his Destructo Disc with the properties of red and blue. A blade that can cut things that are way stronger than him, that are either going to push things away on contact, or, even scarier, draw them closer to this razor-sharp spinning saw blade of energy. Now lastly, we were giving Hollow Purple to the likes of Yamcha. And the way I would talk about this is, imagine if he was able to remotely move it after launching it, like he can with his Spirit Ball. Not to mention having the attack scaled up to the level of a Dragon Ball character, which, let's be honest, even though Yamcha is a laughing joke in the Dragon Ball community, he's still strong as hell. So imagine a Hollow Purple at the level of a Dragon Ball human. Like, this thing would be able to shred through things. And dodging it is going to be insanely difficult because he could remotely control it with a literal flick of his fingers just any which way. Now the real question is, with the techniques given to each of these 3 humans that I talked about, which one is going to be the most dangerous to deal with their added abilities? I could be biased, but although Krillin with the Infinity is going to definitely be very difficult for a lot of people to deal with, I think more often than not, Tien might be a more dangerous foe. Not because he'd be stronger, but because of how long he'd be able to last. Because with the Six Eyes, he'd have insane regulation over his energy, whereas Yamcha, sure, Hollow Purple is going to be good, but he's still going to be not really changing that much besides having a new energy attack. And Krillin is definitely a close second, at least to me. Because with Infinity, he's going to be insanely tough to deal with. But since he doesn't have the Six Eyes in this hypothetical, and Tien does, to maintain Infinity is going to be a constant drain to his ki. So although, due to how much ki he has, he'd be able to keep it up for a very long time, while also using his own techniques, I think with the insane regulation of energy that Tien would have, he would take the top spot for the most powerful of the human Z fighters.